Want to see what color goes good with doors? Keep watching this video to find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm painting some doors and they're primed in white. These are the closed doors from the HeroQuest board game. The other doors I'm going to paint pretty much the same way except there's no actual wood on them. Alright, we're starting off with some Basilicanum Gray and this is just for the base part. And now we're going to be showing you different colors, what you can use on the doors. We're going to start with some Snake Bite Leather. This is a contrast paint, and I've always loved contrast paints or inks on wood surfaces because they all have that grain and those textures. And I mean, if you put paint on top of this as well, I find that it's just going to cover, I mean, you don't have to put it thick, but it just covers up those lines. When you put a wash, it sort of gets into the nooks and crannies, but this stuff really works well. This is Wildwood. As you can see, it's a bit darker. It's got a bit of a gray tint to it, a little bit like a blackish tint to it. And don't worry about covering up those hinges because you're just going to paint over them later. This is a Vallejo game ink called Sepia. And this is very, very similar to the Snakebite Leather. But it's a little bit more liquid, a little bit lighter, I'd say a touch, but it works great. And now this is a game ink from Vallejo, which is brown. As you see, it's a lot lighter again, but again, works great like a wash, works like a contrast paint, gets into all the crannies you want it to be in there. Next one is Demon Brown, which is a scale 75 instant color, and this one has a red tone to it, kind of. You'll see. I mean, it's one of the redder ones. It's like a redwood almost. I actually like the way this one looks. Probably one of my favorite ones is this one and the Snakebite Leather. And now we're going to be doing all the stone around with some Space Wolves Gray. I wanted this, like the doors, to pop a little bit more on the board and not just be gray stone. Now I'm going to do another color right after this to show you what it looks like with another kind of ink, but not a contrast, but an ink. And then I end up using Space Wolves Gray on pretty much all the open doors. So I'm using Dead Flesh. This is a scale 75 instant color. It has a really nice gray tone to it, especially when you're using white. A very dirty-ish, earthy tone to it. And it looks good on the stone, yes, but again, it's a little too subtle, like too plain, like not what you would, it's always what people would do is gray or whatever, but it is different than the Basilicanum Gray. A little dry brush of Dawnstone. This is a Citadel dry paint, and if you haven't used dry paints before, they're weird. They're kind of like goopy. They look like slime. Anyways, now we're using some Nurgling Green, just close to where the vines are, just getting the vines and a little bit around it. And to do the vines on these doors, I'm using Witch Brew. This is an Army Painter paint. It's kind of a fluorescent green, but a bright green. And having that Nurgling Green underneath as a dry brush really kind of sets like as if like that green is starting to take over the rest of the stone. So it's really cool in how it gives it that kind of like background effect plus the popping vines, you know. And it's kind of funny, some people were saying on a Facebook group online, they're saying, why is there vines inside a dungeon? Like, there shouldn't be stuff growing. It would be moss maybe, but not necessarily vines. Anyways, I do find that kind of funny, but you can use different kinds of greens if you wanted to, but I found this one, it didn't even have to apply a wash on it after. Now we're doing another dry brush of the Necron compound just on that like top part of the pillars where the like faces, just to make it as if it was shining a little bit more metallic. Now we're using some Baltasar Gold, and this is going to be for all the hinges and the door handle. And you know what, even with the brown behind it, I was going to go with Lead Belcher or another, like a dark iron or like Screaming Bell or something, but this one just kind of keeps like that rusted feeling. It's been there for a while, it's kind of damp, it's kind of changed color a bit over time, and that's why I used that. Now we're using Blood for the Blood God. Why? Because that red shines, it's shiny, and it's dark. So for the eyes and mouth of that little stonework, I found it came out perfect. Now we are using some Lead Belcher here. We're going to be doing that on all the bolts that are on the doors. So you just make sure there's some on those hinges, there's some on the actual wood itself. I think there was some that I actually didn't catch until like after. So keep an eye, there's like little protruding little spots that are coming out the doors, and yeah. Hey, and if you're liking these videos, guys, hit that like button. Alright, so there you go. The doors are painted, ready to be played with on HeroQuest, a board game. Like I said, I used pretty much Basilicanum Gray and the Space Wolves Gray on all the rest of the doors. I want to thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one.